Hello, greetings. This is Jacob here again from South India. What is ego? Most of the time, when we talk about ego, about my ego or your ego, anybody's ego, people go into a defensive mode and retaliation mode and self denial again. Because the word ego is considered to be very offensive. It is due to that offensiveness the defensiveness comes in. Nobody wants to hear that they have ego. Because ego is considered very negative. Till now the society looks into ego as a very negative thing, like it's something like a big sin that you carry across in you. Now I am talking as a mere seeker and not like a trainer or teacher or master or preacher, because I am not from that point of view. I am not perfected in all these things, but as a seeker, till what I have learned till now and how much I understand the subject, I am speaking for the other seekers who are also on the path and undergoing all these aspects in them. So ego, according to me, is nothing more than body consciousness. When your soul is in the body consciousness, the ego comes up, the I-ness comes up, the doership comes out, the me, myself comes up. Now, how to get rid of ego? Because on the spiritual path, ego is considered to be a big threat. There are people who even blackmail you with your ego, for your ego. Like in the spiritual path, I have seen while I go to different places, people can call you egoistic. If they cannot get a point across to you, or if they cannot convince you to do what they want you to do, they say he has ego. How many times do we do this in the family also? When they don't listen to us, when they are not adhering to what we want them to do, they say, oh, ego. There's a lot of ego. Now, why do we see ego? It's a reflection of us. What we have in ourselves, we see in others. That's a different philosophy. Now, I am not here to say that, I'm not here to blame back something on somebody. I'm just talking on this subject. I don't think it is such a major issue what we actually create the ego with. Condemning the ego to such an extent and expecting people not to have ego, I don't think that is even common sense. Because every human being who has body consciousness will have ego. Without ego, you cannot function. As simple as that. If I am holding up this video and recording something, I have a certain amount of ego in myself that is driving me to do it. And let me tell you, anybody who does this has it. Anybody, even if you're going to work, you have to have an ego. Ego is the very basic part of human nature till you have the body consciousness. Ego can only be diminished or wiped out completely, which is only a handful of people in the whole planet. They are those people who have wiped out their body consciousness completely, eradicated their body consciousness completely. When they means what? Their awareness, the soul. When the soul is not present in the body anymore, you call it is egoless. The moment the soul comes into the body and the soul experiences the body as I am this and the soul identifies itself with the body, that is ego. And I don't think it's a big grave sin as much as society is condemning the ego. Yes, ego is bad if it is utilized in a negative way. Like there is a positive ego and there is a negative ego. All the good work the people who are doing on the planet, all the great work, including the masters, including the teachers, the preachers, the rulers, the politicians, even the best of able rulers, all have had ego, because it is the ego that was driving them to do something, and this is the positive ego. Now see, they have this ego, but they are channelizing it in a different direction for the good of everyone, for the good of themselves, for the good of others. So that cannot be considered as a grave sin. Yes, ego causes a lot of harm if it is channeled in a negative way. I don't want to talk about the repercussions of that. You already know what happens if the ego goes into the negative. The I-ness can do anything with the wrong attitude of the ego. So here on the path, we are talking about having an ego, being aware of the ego, and utilizing it, channeling it for better purposes. That makes more sense till you reach a stage where you can completely shed your body consciousness and go into higher states of consciousness and be held up there. If you can withhold that, then that's a very good, that's how the transition happens again. That's how the evolution of the soul is about. Till then, you are, my dear, going to have this ego. So if somebody says you have ego, there's nothing to feel remorse about it. If we are understanding with awareness whether that ego I am utilizing it for the positive or the negative, till then it's fine. If I'm living unconsciously, then obviously the ego is being utilized for the negative aspects. So that is all we need to be just aware. That's the conscious living. Consciously you're living in awareness, in mindfulness about these things. There's no big hoo-la-la about it. Not big, you need to get retaliating with all these things. So it's okay. And now the other aspects of the ego, the vices that spring up from the ego. These also come from the body consciousness itself. I'm just linking this subject because it's the same thing. Like fear. I have talked about fear. Where is the fear coming from? Fear. There's a lot of fear. How to get rid of the fear. I was telling, get rid of the psychic impressions. Now psychic impressions are the cause again of your soul experiencing body consciousness, because till you have karma in your aura, you are going to put it down into a human body and experience it through the human body. So soul is experiencing itself through the human body. And if there are negative vikaras, vices, it's going to undergo all those things, like it's going to experience fear and all. Fear again is body consciousness, because I feel, what is body consciousness? That's very important, very, very important. We are talking about body consciousness always. But do we know what it is? Body consciousness is separating from the supreme consciousness, from the universal consciousness. Feeling of me being separate from the universe, from life around me. That's what I'm saying, the universal consciousness. When that separateness happens, automatically I become separate from it. Then there is an I-ness. Then I see myself different and somebody else different. Duality, the Dvaita. So everything becomes different. That person is different, I am different, there are different religions, there are different families, there are different thoughts. Everything there is a difference. The species is different, I am superior, animal is inferior. All those relativities, the comparisons and all that happen. So it comes from body consciousness. The moment the soul forgets its real source and identified itself with the body, immediately there is a disconnection from the universal consciousness and it becomes the body consciousness. The moment you have the body consciousness, you become separate, and the moment you become separate, that is called the ego. Simple. A very sattvic way I'm explaining this. And when you have this separateness, definitely there is going to be all the connections with the ego, like the fear. Fear, obviously, if there is a separateness only, you'll feel fear. If you are one with nature, why will you feel fear? You are sitting in a jungle and you are one with even the beasts there, you won't feel scared. That is how the saints have evolved, because they have no body consciousness. They have merged with Prakriti. When they merge with Prakriti, they have no fear. I am in that also, they say. Experientially. So nothing can harm you. There is no dvaita, there is no separatedness. So the fear automatically disappears. Again, it's linked with the ego, the body consciousness. If you have this ego, I'm again saying, if I tell you, if you got ego, you'll feel upset. But if I say you got body consciousness, you'll feel good. So I'm again talking with that. So if you have body consciousness, in brackets ego, you're going to experience fear. So how to annihilate fear? As much as possible, annihilate the feeling of body consciousness, which is all what spirituality and all the paths are teaching about. All the paths have different tools and instruments to take you to the same heights, that to make you dissolve what you are holding, which have reasons for your body consciousness. So once that is dissolved, you are free. That is what we call self-realization or liberation. Fear is one. Attachment is one, because attachment is again my father, my mother, my child, my guru, my disciple, my friend. They're all separate. My God in the heaven. They're all separated again because of the body consciousness. I have a lot of I-ness in me. I got separated from my guru. I got separated from my God. I got separated from my family, from people, from communities, from religions, and all these discriminations come from there. The body consciousness, all this comes. The root cause is body consciousness. The root cause is ego. So if you want to dissolve that and become oneness with everything, the lesser body consciousness you have, the more you'll feel connected with everything, the more you'll consider it as one, and there is no dvaita. You'll start seeing oneness in everything. The more you evolve out of your body consciousness. So again, ego is linked with your attachments also. Even the possession of my, me, mine, my child, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my spouse, holding on to them, like even death, you're scared of death. See the multiple effects of this. The ego is causing the attachment, ego is causing the fear, and so many things that comes with that. Root cause again is body consciousness, is your identification with your body consciousness. So fear, attachment. Another is greed. Greed also comes from there. You want to get something, receive something which you feel is separate from you, so you got to strive for it. You got to go get it from there, and you long, you got this craving because you want to satisfy it for your own purpose because of the separateness. Like if you experience it in yourself, you'll not. Like for example, if the master, you want to go speak, talk, hug, sit there in the vicinity and blah blah blah. Because you're seeing something outside there, and the moment that goes away, you're depressed. That's why you feel very excited when the shiver begins, superb when the shiver goes on all the time, and when it ends, you cannot tolerate it, you cannot bear it. It's the same. It's the attachment again, the body consciousness, the separateness. That is what I try to put in my videos and posts. Why do you have to literally feel so separated? Practice oneness. So that practicing of oneness is again practicing of this dissolving the body consciousness. Fine. What else is left? Lust. Lust is again a big topic, a big taboo that nobody wants to talk about, because lust is like oi tova. Nobody talks about it. Lust is a very powerful force again that comes from body consciousness. If you have a lot of body consciousness, it's going to rise. And especially on this path, the Kundalini is active. It's a serpent force. What is the serpent force? The sex drives. The karma that comes from the serpent force It's a force that is present in you, and when that's activated and that's moving in a direction upwards, it's very powerful, very, very powerful. So Gurudev talks about it. If you don't channel it upwards, it will flow downwards. And the moment it flows downwards, it will create havoc, all the cravings and all the lustful things that now I'm not saying you're not going to have that. It's a very, very powerful force. All seekers go through this, and that is why in the path which my master is following, he always says follow the grihastha. Grihastha is the married life, the householder, path of the householder, because then your chances are diminished of going haywire. You enjoy, you have the bhoga, you enjoy the sexual aspects of your married life also, and go ahead with other advantages also that you have with growing spiritually, evolving together and sharing all the love and so many other aspects also. But lust is also a part of your marriage. Why do you want a partner? Simply you are attracting, there is a separatedness that you feel that is a separate one, and you want to get that person and experience happiness through that other person, which ends up in sex or a hug or a kiss or whatever. Different forms and different variations that we have there. So it is gratification through another person. Again, the lack of oneness will create this. The more separated you feel, the more you will feel attached and attracted to the opposite gender. As simple as that. Now, seekers have many methods of doing it, many paths. I don't know whichever path you're following. Find out how the paths and are encouraging, or the religions are encouraging to get out of the lusty feeling, because lusty feeling is what many people write to me about personally, because they don't want to talk about it, and nobody talks about it. It's a taboo. It's not really a taboo. It's, if you just understand it in this sense, it becomes more understanding. Now, it's not that I do not have lustful thoughts in my mind or bad thoughts in my mind. It does come, because I'm telling you, the moment you identify yourself with the body, it's going to come. I cannot be talking saintly just because I'm on the path. And we cannot have the ego of saying I have annihilated lust. You cannot annihilate lust. You cannot annihilate ego. You cannot conquer lust. You cannot conquer ego. See, lust is coming out from ego only. You cannot conquer in the sense, by being a normal human being, you cannot do that. And if somebody is saying I have conquered lust, I have conquered anger also is one again thing, when you are not having your desires fulfilled from that separatedness, again you get angry. So that also erupts from the body consciousness again. So if somebody is saying I have conquered all these aspects, I have conquered ego, I don't want to say anything more. Unless they are enlightened beings, and enlightened beings will never say these things. They live experientially that way. There are so many enlightened beings on the planet. They have evolved from all these things naturally in their own ways. So that is why we follow them, and we try to understand how to annihilate those things. So never say that you have conquered lust. Maybe you are not feeling lusty, or not feeling scared, or not feeling greedy, or not feeling attached, or not feeling whatever, all these egoistic temporarily, because all those qualities must have been subsided, but they are not gone, my dear. Let me tell you, they are very powerful forces. So don't ever challenge lust, don't challenge egos and say that you have mastered it. There are stories of even Lord Narada, how he thought that he had conquered lust, and he goes to Lord Vishnu, and then Vishnu plays a trick with him, which ends up in he being mocked as a Hari, as a monkey, and from there it gives a new rise to another story called Ramayana. From there you can see it was all because of Narada feeling that I have conquered lust. So Lord Vishnu his master wanted to teach him a lesson, saying that, no, my dear, you know about Vishwamitra, great sages. So why are these stories told repeatedly? So that we keep ourselves in check and don't fly too high thinking that I've conquered my ego or I've conquered my lust. You are going to have this, my dear. So accept these things. Only learn how to channel it and keep on reducing your body consciousness on the journey till the end of the journey. How much ever you can, you just do that in a very casual, in a very progressive way. So when you do that, eventually you will realize, you will understand how the things are working. So it's all again about myself, how I am understanding the journey, how I am trying to grow through this without having any wrong notions. So don't have, it's just my suggestion. Again, I'm telling you, I'm talking from the point of a seeker. Again, I've not mastered all these things, but as far as I've seen all these things, because I am through all these things, so I know how it can feel, how it can feel to the seeker who's standing out there. So somebody talked to me, they've got into a bad habit and they feel bad. They've fallen into these habits of releasing their lust, releasing their sexual urges and energies. So best solution is what? You get married. If you can't control it, get married. Or have a valid partner who is authentic, authentic in the sense they are authorized by both sides. It's almost like a marriage, again, committed. And obviously we do not on the path encourage anything before marriage after that. So just get married and get along with it, fulfill and satisfy, and keep on evolving to the point where you have it no more. Or if anything is happening at your head, don't feel guilty. Gurudev has indirectly told this many times. Never hold guilt about anything if something is happening, because that's an urge, that's a very powerful energy. You got to understand. You only should ensure that you are not going with it all the time, and you got to keep taking measures, trying and keep pulling up your energies and sublimating it, because when from your lower chakras it is moved upwards to the higher chakras, that is how that same lustful or sexual energy turns into creativity. That when it reaches the heart, the Anahat chakra, it becomes unconditional love. It gets converted. When it goes to the higher centers, the Vishuddhi, you become very creative. You talk, you speak and sing and all those things. And then when it comes here, all these qualities are there, higher qualities. So what are we doing? We are actually channeling and transmuting those energies. From going downwards, it's been transmuted for positive purpose. That is what I said in the start also. Even ego is the same thing. You are only channelizing it and utilizing it for a better purpose. So understand all these things. These aspects are going to be there with you. Don't have a cheetu kind of thing. You are not going to do any cheetu. It is just like saying cow dung or shit out there, and then you see ching wak thu, and you're doing, and you're not even knowing that how much of that same stuff you're carrying in your own body. It's funny. These are what the great Avadhutas used to talk about. All the dirt is there within us, and we feel it's outside, and the cheetu and repulsions and all that, and we are carrying everything: the saliva, the semen, the muck, the dirt, the waste that is going on in your bodies, and the stools, the feces. If you see everything, it's so yucky, right? But you're carrying it. The germs that you're carrying in your mouth and all part of your bodies, the sweat, the pus. Should I stop? So that's how it is. So understand, when you're carrying all these things together with you, it's okay. And how can you get rid of all these things from your body, saying, I got all these things on myself? Transmigrate your soul from here to higher consciousness. The lesser the body consciousness, the lesser you will be affected by these things. So I think I've spoken enough. This is like 24 minutes. So if you have enjoyed this video, please share it with those who you feel require this. Otherwise, it's okay. or like it, so that I understand that you're liking it and you are reciprocating with what you're understanding and you're liking, so that I just have an acknowledgement of it. Okay, so stay blessed until next time. God bless you. Have a wonderful time.